sound like I'm talking out of my ass.
Then please try to enunciate.
No, it's a figure. Never mind.
Oh, I forgot to take that damn thing off again. All right. There we go. Dave for the save, I'm sure. All right. This is why you're the producer, Dave. This is
co-producer.
Well, you know, you're the main producer, in my opinion. Anyway. Hey there, everybody. It's time for some Orville. That's right. We're back with the Orville review show where we dive deep into the universe of the Orville. Oh, look at that, eh? Today, we're breaking down one of the most intense and thought-provoking episodes yet. The Krill. Well, Krill, actually, it's called. In this episode, we see Captain Mercer and his crew embark on a daring undercover mission that takes them right into the heart of Krill society to get the holy book, the one book that controls it all, I guess. Anyway, that's pretty much it. And of course, joining me though, we couldn't do this alone. Well, I couldn't anyway. Nobody would want to watch just me. They're mostly here for you guys, let's be honest. And of course, let's start off with the great Dave Mater.
Yes, mostly for me, I think.
You think it's mostly for you? All right.
Or for Avis.
It could be for Avis. Well, some say that you are Avis.
Well, I try.
They call
harder.
you that.
I try harder because I'm harder than ever. Just like
it's
Avis.
true. You're always hard. That's for sure. Anyway, and of course, who could forget Mr. Awesome yet also Mr. Cynical, Kevin Millard.
I'm also hard.
Harder than ever.
Harder than ever.
Like, I'm so hard.
Got some chin horns.
Yeah.
Get them waxed.
And of course, who could forget the man who I'm not even gonna find out whether or not he's hard or not. Adam Woodward.
Let's just leave that one, and because I don't want to play in that game. Thanks, Jody. I'm good.
There's more than one kind of hard, Adam.
I'm Hurts. I am Hurts.
Okay. Oh, you're Hurts.
Okay. Well, we got an
Dave is Avis. Adam is Hurts.
I'm gonna call Kevin Enterprise because that kind of fits both ways. And I don't know what I'm gonna call myself. Rent-a-wreck, I guess. Yeah, that's probably good. Yeah. All right. Anyway. Well, we all watched it. How do we feel about it, though? That's the real question. Dave, what are your thoughts?
It's an interesting episode.
What's interesting about it?
Some of the morality of it, like the trying to be tolerant of this other culture while, being sort of horrified by their incredibly evil acts and their depravity.
One way to say it.
And that they're people, but they have kids and lives, but they're also not so nice. And the whole connection here between Ed and the Krill woman, that continues beyond this. When I first watched this, I didn't think she would be back, and she will be. Spoilers. So it's got a classic Trek message.
Sam's right on that. It does. All right, Dave. Well, thank you. Kevin, what are your thoughts? Were you just as hard as Dave was?
Nobody can be. Nobody can be.
I know it's true.
It was good. It's good episode. It's funny. It's a lot of the morality of it it's a bit squishy for me, actually. Like it's Gordon actually says it at the beginning. What I think about this whole episode is Kelly turns to Ed and goes, "Oh my God, there are families down there, Ed." And then Gordon turns around and goes, "Yeah, there's probably single people too."
I love that one.
Such a good line.
A lot of really good one-liners in this episode.
What I find, and it's the same thing I find about all humanity, is why is an adult life worth less than a child's life?
Yeah.
Women and children first, Kevin.
Yeah, why?
Well, that's true.
Because they haven't had a chance to choose the indoctrination, I guess, or I guess that's the sort of what we're presented with.
So if you guys want to send hate mail, send it to Kevin at
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
send it there. I'll totally get it.
Like,
Well,
like,
the comment
like nobody chooses what they're born into, but like these adult Krill are kind of products of their society as well, and their philosophies, and but they are trying to murder people, and so stopping them does seem correct. But if you're going to spare some of them, like why not?
Why did you spare her and the kids? But we'll get into that. Adam.
Yeah. So I have a question for you guys. How many times have you watched Orville since it
all the way
aired?
through?
Since it aired, like how many times is this your first, second, third, fourth? What time? Like how many episodes?
For me, this is the third watch.
Third watch?
Yeah.
Second for me. Like
Yeah,
I've never watched this episode since then.
Yeah, second for me too. And I like honestly, guys, the first time I watch things, I forget about them, and so it's like the first time, but it was good. I like this episode, and it's very Star Trek related, but it's also very poignant to what's going on in the world always, but particularly now. And at the end there, you've created a whole new generation of haters, right? And that's the debate here. I think is at the end is like, sure, you save them for what? To create soldiers out of them in the end.
Yeah, and it's literally like the last line in the episode too. So it's like it leaves you on that, and it's like, oh,
so they should have killed them.
I'm not saying that. It's because hopefully in the meantime you can intervene and stop the hate.
Right, but I mean, her point is taken. But what was she doing before that? Like, what were they doing? They were doing the exact same thing to another planet, right? So she's hypocritical there for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They don't have souls, Kevin. Just because a computer talks doesn't mean it has a soul. Neither do humans or any of these dumb Union planets.
And that's why I'm Team Maddox now.
Team Maddox. That's good. All right. Well, so we start breaking this down, boys.
One more thing. I think this episode really sets up the Krill as like you know what they are. They're fanatical. That there's no gray. It's black or white. Done.
What I like about it is that like they're so nice to each other, right?
Oh, yeah,
and how it's and they're very civilized, unless they're talking about anybody else but Krill, and then they're like, oh, screw that.
Yeah, then they turn into animals. Yeah,
they're holding up the bloody head of this guy who looks like
the whole scenario seems very familiar to me, but I don't know why.
And and they're all like, cool, yeah, like let's stab it, the severed head a few times.
Oh yeah, God.
Right.
It's one thing to pull it out, it's another thing to keep stabbing it after.
I had totally forgotten about that part. Like, I don't know how.
And that was very interesting, that choreography with Gordon and Ed, because they both, every time the knife came down, they both looked away.
True. All right, well, let's get into it, boys. All right, so we start off in the mess hall. This is kind of the opening gag where we learn something interesting about Bortus. Apparently, he can eat anything. And they're not even mincing words on that.
Starts off with wasabi, and you also forgot about Alara's. Like, she broke up with some guy.
Yes.
Because he couldn't handle that she's strong.
Yes. Yeah, because O is me, I guess.
And then Isaac volunteered to have sex with her.
Yes, that's true.
But she's working on her, which I thought was also a good gag. But But yeah, the whole thing. But Bortus can eat anything is kind of where we end up by after the wasabi and stuff like that.
Yeah, he takes
anything. He can eat many things.
Many
things.
I can eat many things. Yes.
Well, including glass, cactuses, napkins.
Well, they were getting to nails.
They were going to get to a bag of nails.
That's actually.
I love when they leave the table and Gordon is just like, "We're coming back to this.
We're coming back to this."
Yeah, this is a thing. Yeah,
This is him eating the wasabi, but I missed the wasabi part apparently. And she's just like in awe. She's like, "If I eat even half of that, I'd be throwing up everywhere."
It's like I don't think if I ate that much wasabi, I would throw up. But guys, I never try to eat it in big quantities.
Have you ever actually had real wasabi?
It would be unpleasant.
Maybe not.
It would be unpleasant.
Real wasabi is brutal.
Would I cry?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The wasabi that you get,
Like not for
now
not
is,
like
just
not like
horseradish.
crying, like your eyes
Emotionally
would
crying.
water. You wouldn't cry.
Okay.
No, I don't think you'd cry. You're too hard to cry.
Yeah,
When it comes to wasabi. Yeah.
Yeah. Shake it off.
Yeah, you got to shake it off like Taylor Swift. All right. So anyway, they're like, okay, well, what about this napkin? And he just chomps on the napkin. And then he's like, Gordon's all excited now. He's like, oh God, now I got to get something for the replicator. He goes to get the replicator. He ends up replicating a cactus. And he just chomps on that too. And then she's like, Alara's like, whoa, what about this glass? And it's like, so literally they're just going through all these things. And then I think it was Lamar that's like, oh, I gotta get nails or something like that, or maybe it was Gordon. But he's like, I gotta go get a bag of nails, and then all of a sudden, the intercom goes off, and they have to go to the bridge, and then that's where he says the line, oh well, we're getting back to this.
Yeah.
Well, the dog. I think that's Adam's dog, not mine. All right. Anyways, so the Orville arrives. They're arriving at this planet, and as they get to this planet, which is apparently a farming planet, they end up seeing a krill ship in the atmosphere, and it's firing down on the planet. And I like how they use scale in this show. I find the scale works really well, because right now it just looks like, just like a little tiny ship, but they start saying about how like they're outgunned, like there's no way they can kill this thing, and they basically go back and forth, and he's like, and he goes, oh well, put the comms on, and then there's a little joke about how he starts talking, and then she's like, oh no, I haven't turned it on yet, and all these little goofy things. I like the fire suppression joke that comes after, which I thought was really funny.
This is the panel that takes care.
Yeah, what happened to the fire suppression system? That's the panel that's on fire.
Did you like the bit there where he was like, hey, Krill's ship, and she's like, oh, I haven't actually opened the hailing frequencies yet.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
yeah.
like,
I
now?
did, but then when he was like, now, like after she had said now, I'm like, okay, this is going a little too much.
It went too
Yeah.
far. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I'm with you there.
And so he's like, he finally says, he's like, oh, Krill ship, please stop firing, and blah blah blah. And then Kelly's like, does that ever work? And then all of a sudden they stop firing and turn around, and she's like, oh, okay. Turns out but I love the scale. The scale is the one thing I love in the show.
It's
They
much
do a
bigger.
Well, even when you see later on, I think I got a screenshot of it when they go with the Admiral ship.
Mhm.
The Admiral ship is like 5 times bigger than the ship that.
But it would still be smaller than this ship.
It'd still be small.
Oh yeah, much
for sure.
smaller.
Is the Admiral ship is their largest ship then? the Union has?
I believe so, but I'm not that up
on
to
the
date on that
ships?
stuff. They don't really have like the wiki does say some stuff, but
if you remember when he was promoted to captain, though, they were talking about it's just a cruiser, right?
It's like a medium. It's a medium ship. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's not a big one.
Exploratory vessel.
Exploratory
it's called.
vessel. There you go.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's more like I don't know, what class would that be in Star Trek? That'd be like
Probably like an Intrepid class.
Intrepid. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, but you know what though, guys? Like
California
how many
class,
episodes now?
motherfuckers.
Maybe. Was that on?
6 episodes in, he's already like had 3 battles now. Like I think he should get a new ship. I have to tell you,
A new Orville?
They're
a
gonna
bigger
do
ship.
the Orville refit.
Yeah.
They send him in to do some pretty big stuff, and he's already killed or destroyed 2 krill ships.
Yeah,
Right?
like in this episode, like he's just like we get the impression that he's just like one of the captains. Like he's not anything that special, and it's like, but
Yep.
you're giving him
3,000.
the ability to. What's that? Yeah, 3,000.
3,000 ships.
Yeah, 3,000 ships. He's just one of 3,000, and he's also got this, this crappy thing.
If this is how exciting an exploratory vessel is, like what's going on the bigger ships?
Not
Terrence,
enough to get a show.
We're currently reviewing the past episodes, but season 4 apparently is going to be happening. So, but we don't know yet for sure. But anyway, so we're back. Right? Am I doing okay, guys? My connection's kind of weird.
You're fine.
Am I okay?
Sounds
Okay.
fine to me. Yep.
Excellent.
Yes,
All right.
the show is still on.
Alrighty. So we basically see the battle that starts between these two ships, and we also get these really cool shots. I love these like stare down shots. They're always my favorite in all of sci-fi is the stare down shots. Even in like the Star Trek movies, they did some good stare down shots, which are cool. But anyway, basically they're trading fire, and then there is the console that's on fire. To which she's like, seriously, this is the fire exploding panels reference. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a Star Trek trope for sure. What I think is interesting is if you actually look close at it, it looks like they literally are burners that they've put underneath this glass. It's like, but anyway, who cares? But then Mercer gets the idea of, oh, can we go into the atmosphere? And Gordon's like, that's a bad idea. And he's like, well, do it anyway. Doesn't tell Gordon, why. He just says, go ahead and do it.
He's got no time to explain this.
He doesn't have time. Exactly. He's got to get going. So anyway, they start heading.
This was
towards
a
the
really
atmosphere.
good Captain Mercer moment. Like he really seemed in command here. Good job,
Yeah.
Seth.
He seemed like he was in charge, yes, which is something we don't see a lot of.
But yet, every time he gives an order, somebody questions it. But this will happen, or this could happen.
Yeah. Like Gordon is like, this is a bad idea, and he's like, I don't care, do it anyway.
Bortus tells them it's a bad idea.
Yeah, then he goes, Bortus, arm all of the torpedoes, and Bortus is like, that would leave us defenseless. That might not be a good idea.
And he
like,
actually says to Bortus, follow my orders.
Yeah, follow my orders. Yeah. So anyway, they're skimming the atmosphere, and the reason why they're doing that is because they want to create a bit of a smoke shield, I guess, to screw up the targeting sensors of the thing, which doesn't make any sense to me because let's be honest, the ship's huge. They're also an advanced society, technology-wise. You would think they would have the ability to see through mist, but maybe they don't. So who knows? But anyway, so they do that, and then he basically tells Gordon, do a hard up. Go straight up when you get it when I tell you to. So he does that, and then he says, now fire all the torpedoes at them. And he literally fires them and blows that ship sky high. Basically that's it. And then all of a sudden he gets communication from down on the planet. The guy that's talking to them, I can't remember this actor's name. He's one of those guys that kind of shows up in a lot of things. But I don't know his name for the life of me. I can't remember.
I don't recognize him.
He's usually in like crime stuff. Like that's where I recognize him from, but I could be wrong. But anyway,
Michael Dempsey's his name.
His name is Michael Dempsey.
All right,
Michael
what was he
Dempsey,
in?
yeah.
What's he been in?
Give me a second.
I'm thinking crime
Lost?
drama. Was he on Lost?
2 episodes.
Probably in a season that I didn't bother watching.
A lot of other
The
stuff.
Changeling. He's been on Station 19. I don't know.
Maybe he's just got one of those faces.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not dwell. But basically, he's like, we've been beaten pretty bad. All that, and then Kelly's like, okay, well, we'll give you a hand in a second. And Mercer's like, we'll send somebody down. And then all of a sudden they look over, and sure enough, there's something still floating around after the ship's been destroyed. Turns out it's a shuttle.
Did you notice how, because they did play this well, because they did the shot of her talking to Mercer, but shooting from behind Mercer. Yeah. And then you can see her sort of looking at the view screen. Like she just gets totally distracted.
She does the Jurassic Park kind of dazed look at her eyes kind of thing off screen. Yeah. So she does that. And then everybody else does it too. Gordon's like, holy shit, because they've never got this close to the technology, right? So they're like, oh, this is interesting. And then there you go. There's a good way to scale it. So I'm guessing 3 times the size, somewhere around there.
I'll go with that.
Times. Yeah. So cool ship. Very cool ship.
We don't get its name, do we?
It's probably on there if we zoom into the screenshot, but it's too dark. I can't see it because it would be like over here. It's like right here, but I can't read it. Yeah, I can't read it. Sorry, guys. But yeah, no, it's a huge ship. But the one thing I did notice, Now, I don't know if you guys noticed this. Maybe this was just me being blind or something. But did you notice that the admirals have a slightly different variant of their uniform color-wise? I thought they were still blue, but they're not. They're actually purple.
They've been since the first
they?
episode.
Totally
Yeah.
didn't. I missed that.
You
Somehow.
colorblind there, Jody. You can't
Yeah,
keep
a
the
little
uniform
bit, but not
straight.
much. Well, Dave, you are the uniform expert, so.
So you're
We
talking
go to
about
you for
scale
that.
again, though. Like outside the ship when they're looking through the view screen, that looked a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Yeah.
that one. That
Oh.
one there, I think. Yeah. the
Oh,
shuttle.
you mean the actual shuttle? Yeah. Well, it's also a view screen. They do the same thing that they do in Star Trek, where like they zoom in and shit like that, right? Enhance, that kind of thing. But basically, the admiral's like, "Oh, good job, guys! Like this is technology that they will definitely want to see." Well, that's what Mercer says to her, and she's like, "No, we have another option. We're going to do with it. We're going to send you over in that ship to a Krill ship, and we're going to see if you can get the Holy Bible that they have." Which is, what did they call it again?
The Tahana or something.
Akshana. Akana.
Akana.
Ankana. I think there's an N. The
Yes,
Ankana?
you're right. Ankana.
Ankana? Okay.
Ankana.
But so they want to get this thing to kind of understand their enemy better, because right now they really don't know much about them. We only know brief little bits about them, so we don't know much. But then, obviously later we find out a lot more about them, including the fact that they're space vampires. Like, who knew? But I love how Gordon says that, though.
They clearly haven't. They probably made first contact with the Krill not long ago. You get the feeling, because they don't seem to know anything about them. Hardly. Like
they don't know much about them. No, they know that their planet is only lets in something like 3% of the sunlight or something like that. They're always in the dark.
And that they're religious, and that's about all they seem to know. They don't even know any names. Like what?
No, they don't even know the
They made a
names
big
of anybody.
point. They made the point about the religious is that, and that was interesting because they said as society evolves and technology becomes stronger, people lose religion, but not this culture. They have kept it, and that was interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. I think okay. Like the big thing that stands out for me is that like I can kind of buy that they might send Ed on this mission, but to send Gordon on this mission makes no sense.
They needed the best pilot.
I like
He
that
doesn't
in that
do
scene.
I don't know why they sent word.
In
Didn't
that
make much
scene,
sense though.
when they're sitting at the table, I love when Kelly's like, "Can't you get somebody better?" Like, and Ed's like, "Oh,
And
thanks."
Ed's like right there, yeah.
Well,
Can't you get somebody better?
But it makes
Oh,
more
no, it
sense.
was great. And then he references, we have company over. Don't say this in front of the company.
Yeah.
For the company.
For the company. Yeah.
Like I think that like they could have sent some people who are like specialized in intelligence gathering and even like undercover work
But
Gordon,
Dave, they're not getting paid per episode.
okay, but like even send Alara, right? She's more qualified for this.
Well, I think the problem with Alara is that the females are kind of like afterthoughts in their society. So it's like it's mostly dominant male on that ship, right? Like we only saw a couple females the whole time.
I guess
So-
I guess I don't know that for sure because doesn't Alara, like what's her name, like spoilers but doesn't Talea become like a big important person on
He does.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Eventually.
I'm not so sure that they're, but the captain and the priest guy are men, and everyone else is a man seemingly on the ship. So I don't know.
Well, they all
They
take
need
turns getting
Gordon
their
to
horns
pilot
puffed.
the shuttle because he's the best pilot, and it's
So
a
I guess
shuttle
that-
no one's ever flown before.
It's the same
the
reason
Krill.
why every so often Riker has to drive a shuttle. It's like, because
But
he was good at it.
Riker
at
is a
one point.
good pilot, but Riker is also not an idiot. Like, so it's like it's setting like
Well,
Gordon.
Gordon really is not probably your best choice.
How
when
many
it comes
times
to
does Ed have to
socializing.
tell Gordon to shut up and to stop doing
many.
things? Many,
Oh, please. Ed didn't do any fucking better with Chris and Devin.
Yeah.
Like,
What's their names? Chris and Devin.
Again, like, you know, if this admiral's gonna send them on the mission, give them cover stories, give them
Like
background.
they have an intelligence community in this organization. They should be able to at least say, okay, well, we think their names are kind of like this. You know, we're gonna assign you names.
It
you know,
is the greatest joke in the episode that they're on their way and they're like, oh fuck, we forgot names.
yeah, yeah.
Like-
They say that in the shuttle, right? Yeah. It's
Nobody
like,
knows what a Krill name sounds like, is what we're told, you know.
Well, it's kind of like dealing with the Borg the first time, right? Like nobody knew anything about them. And it's like, you know, even when they're on their ship, they're like, oh, they start them off from babies and stuff like that. Like, so same idea, I guess. But yeah, no, it is funny how they make light of it in this episode, especially considering there's some dark subject matter in this episode as well. So it's like it's kind of interesting. So anyway, they get the shuttle prepped. And then this happens where basically Mercer comes in and he's being held hostage by a Krill, you know, which I don't think anybody should have been falling for, but they did. And, you know,
Especially
but like,
Isaac.
what if this went terribly wrong? Like, what if they just shot like Gordon in the face? Like, you know, Bortus is like, I don't care, bang. You know, like this is probably not the best thing to do. So basically, what's happened here is they have this holographic technology that was given to them by Isaac, and basically that's Gordon as a Krill, right? So, but he's like, I want you to eat this, and it's like he hands them
Eat
the
my
gun.
weapon.
Yeah, eat my weapon. And then he just starts laughing completely psychotically, which I thought was pretty funny. And you can see Ed in the background laughing as well. They're both in. He's like, oh, I totally had you. And it's like, you almost got killed, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's probably not the best time to do that. But anyway, I guess it was supposed to be funny. I didn't find that scene particularly that funny. I don't know about you guys.
I did. I thought it was pretty funny.
It was okay.
No, not funny.
Okay.
Okay. Dave's getting harder and harder as this episode's going on.
That's right. Harder than ever.
Harder than ever. You always manage to go a little bit higher in the harder than you were the last time.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, Sam, we didn't need to know that. Oh, Sam. We don't need to know that. All right. Take a vote. Who's hard? How outrageous. That's how I feel right now. All right. But anyway, so Kelly, you can see, you know, there's some compassion with Kelly. She's obviously worried about Mercer, you know, which further kind of goes for their relationship as time goes on here. But she's like, you know, make sure you come back, you know, the typical, you know,
do you
going
guys
away
feel
thing.
like well, I'm kind of skipping to the end here, but like this is like the first episode I think that Seth MacFarlane didn't write himself, and there's
That's
a few
right.
times where it feels kind of like we're back to the first or second episode again. You know, like where the
Well, he did some substantial rewrites apparently, Dave. So
okay,
I
so
think
he
he
kind of
just
did
tried to
write it
remind people.
anyway.
Well, I'm sure he wrote some
Yeah.
of the jokes and stuff like that for sure, because it's definitely got the Farlane humor there for sure. But anyway, so the shuttle goes off, and then we get the scene where the two of them are talking, and he's rocking out. I can't remember the song that he's rocking out to, but he's rocking out to a song, and Mercer's like,
he was
deep in-
CCR. It was CCR.
Oh, that's right, it was
I can't
CCR.
remember the song though.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the song, but yeah, it was CCR. But this is what kind of annoyed me. Okay, they have no idea what's going on, but he's reading a briefing. He's reading a briefing about this mission that they're going to be doing. Did it not in there say, you know, what kind of names you should have? Like, come on.
Well, clearly not, because they
Obviously not.
called it out.
I
Yeah,
felt like
but-
this admiral was sending them to their death.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to get rid of Mercer, quite honestly.
Or
And
Gordon.
then they're
or
like,
both.
and Gordon keeps losing legs, so we're gonna have to get rid of him too. He's just a liability. But anyway, yeah, they're like, oh, we need to have like names, and then they start writing out, like spewing off all these names that like are random, and then there's like names in there of like, you know, I think there was like Redenbacher was in there and some other ones, but interesting anyway. But they're like, oh man, we totally don't have names. Oh, geez. And then all of a sudden, as they're talking, you know, they come across this Krill ship that's coming towards them. And they're like, oh shit. So then they turn on their things. Now, as I've said in pretty much every episode, I love the makeup in this show. Whoever the makeup director is, they do a great job on this show. But they do look a lot different than the other Krill, like face-wise. I don't know if that was on purpose or it was just because they didn't have enough knowledge to know exactly what they look like. But did you notice that?
Is that just because we know what Seth MacFarlane and this guy Scott Grimes look like?
Maybe they just wanted to give them enough so we could differentiate them. But to me, it almost felt like it was just like it was unfinished faces, like kind of like an artist's representation.
You turned your mic off, Jody. Or you pulled it out of the socket or something. But that's how it goes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. I must have kicked it or something. But yeah, like I just, to me, it felt like this was like just a kind of way to, a way to differentiate or something like that. Yeah. Very funny, Sam. Very funny. Anyway, some would say I'm better with no mic. So there you go. Oh, Norman agrees. Yes. I am definitely better with no mic. Okay. Thanks, Norman. All right. Jerk. Everybody's a jerk today. All right. Anyway, but they come across this ship and they get told to dock in the bay after they, talk to them and stuff like that. The old Star Wars thing where it's like, they didn't have clearance codes though.
It's an old code. It checks out.
It's an old code, but it checks out.
Yeah.
Technology to build a Death Star, but they don't have technology to change their codes every so often. All right. Oh, Sam's just going nuts in there now. But anyway. So anyway, they arrive on the ship. They're greeted by security, I guess it is, which, they're like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then
Captain wants to talk to them.
What's that?
Captain wants to meet them right away.
It was very casual. Like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah,
hey.
Yeah. They're both like, hey, what's up? And the guys are just like,
So obviously the language part is just kind of like covered, right? They don't have to worry about that.
They have the universal translator thingy. It's fine.
Okay.
The babblefish, whatever you want to call it. But I love the.
And this goes like to the Stan, Laurel and Hardy kind of be here.
Yeah, well, they're both trying to get through the door at the same time, and because they're so wide and they're normally not this wide. I guess they misjudged it. These Krill, what is it? These Krill have goatees like chins. That's their horns. God, only the men have it.
They're chin horns.
Chin horns. Yeah.
Get them waxed.
Sometimes they like to get them waxed. So then we're introduced to the captain of the ship. I can't remember his name, nor does it matter. But basically, he's like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" And they're like, "Oh, we were on the ship that got destroyed by those bastard people from the Union or whatever." But anyway, and then we get the priestess, which or priest, I guess it is, who I thought was
high priest.
High priest, excuse me. Yes,
Yeah.
There's
not lowly one. He's not no lowly priest.
No, he's one of them high ones. He's one of them up ones. He's probably like drunk all the time or stoned. But anyway, I liked his character actually. I really like the outfit. What do you think of these outfits, Dave? Before we get too far in.
Well, I like the priest's outfit more. I think that I think the Krill uniform is whatever. It's fine, but it's kind of boring too. But I do find it I do find it interesting that this Krill priest is like on the ship, and it seems like every ship has a high priest, kind of like
I think
a political
that's supposed
officer.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to kind of show that they're very religious. Like they're so religious that they have to have a chapel and everything. Now, mind you, cruise ships generally have chapels. Big ships do. So I guess that doesn't really shock me. But anyway, they basically say, "Oh, we were on the ship that got destroyed." Blah blah blah. And they're kind of having a conversation. I don't remember the whole conversation here, but basically it was along the lines of kind of what happened and all this. And then I think during this conversation, I think that's when the bell rings for their services. Yeah. So this
is where they also dropped like the Chris and Devin name for the first time.
Yeah.
Krill I don't know why it's funny, but it's still funny. Chris and like
The fact that it's Chris
But,
and Devin doesn't like it's just
it-
like what?
And then he calls it out. He's like, "Those are unusual names." He's like, "Eh."
not as good
Like
as
they don't explain it.
Yeah, he doesn't
No.
explain why they're unusual. They just are. But anyway, we go into this recreation of, I guess, of a chapel from the captain's earlier life. It's a recreation, apparently, of the chapel that he worshipped in, which I guess further cements the fact that they're very religious. And then we meet the first female Krill that we've seen.
Talea.
Talea, yeah. Which, yes, Talea does come back in the series. Not for a while, but she does come back under a different role.
Yes. Well, and her, we find out her brother died on the ship they destroyed.
Yes, and then of course
Yep.
Gordon has to put his 2 cents in, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that guy, yeah, he was awesome. We were like best buddies, you know."
They
it's
took
like,
baths together. This is
they
what
took
he
baths
starts
together, yeah. And she's not even phased by that. Like which is kind of even more disturbing, really, because
That's
I'm sure
the joke. Is that they're incompetent, but everybody around them is still like, "Oh yeah, that sounds normal.
Yeah.
Like,
sounds
that's
alright,
okay."
I'm like, there's no way they should have sent Malloy on this mission. Like, there's
No,
just
Malloy
way.
is definitely he's definitely not an asset on this.
You're
on
telling me
this,
like Isaac couldn't pilot this thing better than him?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so.
and Isaac would be a lot more useful for the reading of the Bible too.
True. You wouldn't
Because
yeah.
like literally they're taking snapshots of every single page of this Bible. It's like that's going to take a while. But basically they all stand to attention basically. And then the priest comes by and he's like, and the humans did this and blah blah blah. And then he holds up this like clearly decapitated head, obviously.
Is
almost
that the
looks
guy
like
from
Alan
Game of
Rickman.
Thrones?
It does like him,
Which
doesn't
guy?
it?
The king,
Who played the severed head? That's what I want to know.
not the separate. No, he does. He has a body in the show.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But the king of the wildlings, what's his name? Rance Madar? No, Magar. Is that like Mance?
He definitely looks
Mance-
familiar to me.
I know who you mean.
Mance
I don't know
Raider
the
from
name.
Game of Thrones, as played by Kieran Hines.
So was he in the Orville?
I'm checking.
This seems like a very throwaway thing for somebody to be in, though.
I don't know if he's
Game
even
of
be
Thrones
credited.
was a thing at this point.
I don't think he'd be credited.
Probably not.
Yeah,
credited.
because I don't think it's he's really playing the head. I think
maybe in Fun Facts we'll find out something about that.
maybe, but that's who it looks like. It
No,
looks it looks.
Fun fact, it's not there.
It's not even there, eh? Wow. All right. Well, we're gonna never know who this is, I guess. But basically, he talks about how like the humans are terrible, basically, and death to the humans, I guess, is probably the easiest way to summarize that.
They
And
don't
then he
have
grabs
Avis.
this. Well, they don't believe in Avis, nor do they have souls. So they're soulless humans. But the fact that he puts it in like this garbage can / bucket thing, and then he grabs this dagger, and you're like, what the fuck is he gonna do with the dagger? And then he's like, oh, and then you're like, wow, that was. And I love just the sheer like everybody else is like okay with it, but then obviously our 2 Earth people are like, oh, and they're like looking away and stuff. And he
Don't
just
give
keeps
yourself
jabbing
away.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
he just keeps jabbing it. So eventually they end the ceremony. And when they end the ceremony, Mercer's like, okay, now's our time to jump into the whatever that room is, chapel. We're gonna go into the chapel and start taking pictures of this book. So they get up there, they open the book, and then literally you see a couple seconds of just deadpan where it's just him taking a picture, pulling the page, taking another picture, pulling the page, taking it. Like it's so boring, but it's funny at the same time, just on how he does it, and you just see like Gordon is just like doing nothing. He's just like watching him do this. It's like it's like
The best Earth has to offer, right?
yeah,
here.
best Earth has to offer, and they're sitting there taking pictures of a book one by one. But anyway, so they all of a sudden get interrupted by the high priest. The high priest is like, "What are you doing in here?" And they're like, "Oh, we're just looking for some more answers in the book. All hail Avis and stuff." And I think there's one point where he says, you know, when are these guys gonna realize that like this was a 20th century rental company or something like that?
Yeah, Gordon. I think it was earlier in the scene, but yeah.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they're sitting at the pews at that point.
But you can just tell like how much Seth MacFarlane, how much contempt he has for religion is very much apparent in this episode.
Yeah, and this isn't anything new for him. He likes to.
For me, this is one of the best anti-religious episodes ever, because most of the time we get this kind of a story. It's not that religion is the problem. It's that, oh, this is a bad version of religion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't get that here. It's not that this
They're
is a
like,
bad version.
This is just straight up bad. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think Star Trek would make the episode like this. Like the comedy part aside, like I just don't think they would.
No. Especially the way this ends. I don't think they would do it the way it ends either.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, we've had a couple of weird endings in Star Trek, but nothing like this that comes to mind, I guess. But except for maybe Cisco genocide, but past that, maybe.
He didn't genocide anyone, really.
It depends on what side of the fence you are on that one. But anyway,
forced relocation is a form of genocide, Dave. He committed a genocide.
Yep,
it's not a force. It's not a form of genocide.
All right, let's save it for a different. Didn't we already discuss this at one point?
I don't know.
On some other podcast.
The Cardassians had already done it. He just switched the colonies.
Right. Totally genocidal.
The Cardassians did it first.
Well, does not matter.
Okay.
No, that makes it right, Kevin.
All right. Good job, Kevin.
Anyway, they're still taking pictures of this damn book after they sneak back in again. After the High Priestess leaves.
I'm impressed how far they get through it. They're like
like at this point they're halfway through. It's like, wow, like this book is like, this has got to be a good 500 pager at least. Like this is a big one. We get to see some of their writing though, which is kind of I would say kind of a mix between like Arabic and
no, it looks like when you open a binary file in a text editor.
Yeah, looks like that. It's like looks like crappy weird hex. Yeah. I like the fact that the scanner, they actually went through the process of animated the screen on the scanner. So every time he takes a picture, it actually shows like the paragraphs on the scanner, which I thought was kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
And then we get to see this cool little demon thing. This is Avis apparently, and he's a badass. Look at him. He's a badass. He's got some big ass horns though. And of course he kills people, which is
big chin fun. Horns, chin knives.
This guy reminds me of somebody from some book in our history, but I don't know exactly who it is. But anyway. So anyway, we go back to the captain, and the high priestess is there, and he basically says along the lines of, "We need to put a guard." What's that? What? Adam, are you with us?
He's frozen. I'm just looking up genocide definitions here.
Oh, here we go.
And it doesn't really include the relocation thing as much. It does if you're killing people in the process or
forced relocation. If they don't relocate, Dave, they die. It's genocide.
No. It's not. It's, and if it is, it's very the loosest version of it. No, like
Cisco sucks. Move on. All right.
Well, maybe, but I just want to make sure we're using words correctly.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate your input.
It's at the very least an ethnic cleansing. Yes.
I don't think it was an ethnic cleansing.
Are you fucking kidding me? The inhabitants of the planet could not live there anymore.
Yeah, only.
Y'all know this is a different show, right?
Yes.
All right, let's move on.
Crime or act where intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group, killing members of the group, causing serious bodily harm, mental harm. Well, maybe that.
All right, let's move on. All right, we're getting derailed here.
I didn't start it. Uh,
It might have been my fault. But anyway, so he asked for an armed guard because he caught those two snooping around and he was not impressed about it. And the guy's like, well, I trust you. You're old and bitchy and you're cynical and I trust you. So we'll put a guard up there. So they send a guard. And as these guys now, they don't look like they've made much progress since the last time we saw them. They're kind of in the middle of the book still. And it looks like their emitters are starting to fail. How convenient. But anyway, we call that plot convenience, I believe. But anyway, so Gordon looks at him and goes, you look like you. You know, it's like, okay, well, that makes sense, I guess. And then the guard shows up. Now, the guard's got some pretty good weaponry here. It almost looks like something from Halo. You know, who knows? But either way, they're now concerned about the fact that, you know, their cloaking device, holographic device thing isn't working. And it turns out it's because it's on the same frequency as something with a lot of power on the ship, which I don't know why it would only affect it now. I guess maybe they booted up the bomb or whatever it was, but
neutron bomb.
The neutron bomb. Kind of like the neutron dance, but not as fun. But anyway, that's a very old reference for old people. All right. So anyway, so he ends up going into the chapel, looks around. At this point, they've ducked out of the way. I don't know why I got that picture. And he's still looking around, and we now notice that they're behind them, and they're, you know, hiding behind pews and stuff. And they're just trying not to be seen, because obviously they're not cloaked right now. So, you know, that would definitely be an issue. And they kind of jump out of the chapel, and he can hear them jump out of the chapel and chases them, and then stops about here for some strange reason. I don't know his logic on this. So it's, if you heard footsteps, why did you only
guarding
chase
the chapel? He can't walk away from the chapel.
Oh, I see. Even if there was the intruder that they're looking for. All right, that makes sense. And it turns out they're pulling a Picard, and they're hiding in a doorway, because that's what Picard likes to do, and Riker. And then they run back to their quarters, and they're trying to get this damn thing, and they come to the conclusion that something is blocking the signal, so they have to change the signal wavelength. They pull out a little stylus because apparently these are PDAs. And they probably are Palm pilots. They run on like Palm OS or something. And they eventually figure it out and turn them back on. So they turn back on, and now they're good again. Now they're going to go look for the source of that signal. And it turns out they see some big, huge thing, and they're like, oh, wow, that's a bomb or a missile or something. Not good. And Gordon is in sheer terror, and Mercer looks like he's just kind of upset. Yeah. But anyway, so they're like, oh, great. So then they decide they're going to have dinner, and they're going to invite over. They're going to invite over.
Talea.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure what they're eating. It kind of looks like the ashes that come out of one of those dog shitting fireworks things. Do you remember those things where you light it and it like just shits everywhere?
No.
Really?
I do. The snake things.
The snake tube things. Yeah.
Snakes.
They're dumb. They're so disappointing. But when you're a kid, you're like, fireworks. And then you're like, oh, this sucks. But anyway, and some sort of worm thing. But the thing I like about this scene is they're talking seriously about stuff. But if you actually watch Gordon is spitting his food out most of the time, and it's like hanging out of his face and stuff.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't see that.
I think I got a shot of it. But anyway, and because it's mostly just Mercer and Talia talking, right? Or Talia. Yeah, there you go. All the stuff's just hanging out of his face, and he keeps spitting it out. But like nobody's even paying attention to him doing it, which is kind of weird. But anyway, I guess they just needed him to do something in the scene. But Mercer's still eating it, and I can't remember what this conversation is. I guess it was about, what was this about? This was about mind blank.
I don't remember, but she invites them here to go. Oh no, that's not here. I don't remember.
No, she invites them later.
Later in the hallway.
I'm not totally sure what this was. I guess she was talking about her brother for a bit. Because, and she's like, oh, you know, and he said his sister was really nice and blah blah blah. But anyway, so we get on to a different scene where the two of them are talking. At this point, I can't remember where they are. Oh, they're just walking through the corridor. They're on their way back to the bomb thing, I think. And then she sees them and she's like, "Can you stop by and talk to my?" She says it in a way where you don't think it's kids. Recruits.
Students, my recruits or my
recruits, I think she says, yeah.
Yeah, something like recruits, right?
Trainees, maybe.
Trainees.
I think it's
like
trainees.
That.
Yeah.
Either way, you didn't get the perception that it was kids. And then, certainly they walk in, it's all these kids. I love how some of the kids have like chubby faces too. I think that's pretty funny. Even in this culture, you get kids with chubby faces. So apparently that's a universal construct. But anyway, so they're like, oh, they're here to talk about their fight with the Earth people. And the kids are like asking them random questions about things, and it's making them very uncomfortable. And then at one point, can't remember what the conversation was, but eventually he figures something out and he has to leave. Oh, they talk about sunlight.
Yeah.
And that's when he clues in that sunlight would be a problem for them. Because they live in a world where it's very low light, and even the light in the ship seems a little too much, but I guess we have to have that. But anyway, he gets excited. They go back to the quarters and he's like, "Gordon, sunlight, that's what it is." And Gordon's like, "I'm not following." And he's like, "Well, can you make it so all the lights go really, really bright?" Which to me, how are you going to take a normal light bulb and make it a UV light? How do you do that? Anybody know?
I don't know. Why do these lights even exist on the ship if they're like ready to kill them? Like, why would they even be able to?
Why would they have the ability to go that big? Yeah, that's
exactly.
But anyway,
but I did like guys. I like the link to the first or second, wherever we met the Krill before, when they were talking about the helmets they had to wear. And remember,
yeah.
We're very light sensitive.
That was a really good thing, yeah, because they're like, and we thought they were just like battle gear. It turns out like it's because they need to be in darkness, right? So it's like, but this only just occurred to Mercer because they've only dealt with them one other time, right? So,
but like he wasn't the only one ever to meet them, was he? Like,
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But I don't think they have much intelligence on them.
Clearly,
but anyway, and then this kid kind of comes to him and he's like, "I have more questions," and he's like, "This isn't a good time. I'm about to overthrow the ship."
I love that nobody questions either why these two guys know so much about Earth and humans.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a lot of things they could question with them,
Yeah. But you also have to remember most of those conversations of that nature are in front of
with
kids.
the kid. Yeah.
So I think Talia would be the only one who would have that issue. Because the kids wouldn't care. They'd be like, "Oh, it's just somebody older than me knows something." But anyway, so they're at this point they end up attacking a guard that's walking around, and he pulls him in, and the reason being is because he wants his weapon. And then now we find out that Mercer is watching Talia and the kids in the school area there, and Gordon is retrofitting this timer thing for the lights to go off at a certain point. Mercer tells him to set it for 10 minutes. And then, of course, we have that 10-minute countdown thing that happens. And at this point, Mercer ends up, oh, no, it's Gordon that gets caught first, right? Yeah, because he messages back to Mercer.
Yeah.
And then Gordon gets caught. And they're like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And
I love the priest is like, "Oh, did I interrupt a private conversation?"
Yeah, did I interrupt your private conversation? So obviously he was hearing everything. And then he goes through Gordon's stuff and he finds the holo emitter. And he's like, "What happens when we turn this thing off?" And then he just phases in. And there he is. And they're like, this makes more sense now why he talks about humans all the time. And he's a terrible ass.
He's like, "This. What is this? It's a pepper mill.
Yeah, it's a pepper mill.
This is a terrible gift, right?
Yeah, pretty bad gift. Right? Yeah. And then we go back to the classroom, and Mercer realizes that one of the kids is missing, and we're now at 4.5 minutes ish. And they go over the PA, find Chris. We have Devin. Find Chris. So anyway, some of the guards, as they're walking through, notice them, and then obviously we get our obligatory hallway shooting Back
And we
forth.
learned that Mercer's pretty badass fighter too.
He's not bad. Yeah. He's around for some reason. And he also likes to shoot people. He's good at that too. I love this scene though, where he goes, stabs him in the leg, and he goes, "That's a new leg." I love that line too. That was pretty good. Oh man, that was a new leg. Yeah, apparently I didn't get the first one, but I got the second one. But anyway, so he stabs him. I do like this guy though. I don't know who he is. Yeah, whoever the actor is, I like him. But anyway, so then they open up the doors for this bomb. They're about to shoot off the bomb. It's got 55 seconds left before those lights start going nutty. And Mercer's still fighting in the hallway. And then one of the he ends up going into a room where a kid is, and the kid's looking for Earth because they were talking about it earlier. And he's like, "I think I found Earth." And he's like, "We don't have time for this right now. Let's go." And he's trying to take him back to the school room, because the school room isn't going to be affected by the lights. They're going to knock out the lights in that room first, so the kids don't get killed. And then we get some more hallway fighting again. He gets upset. He launches the weapon. The weapon starts launching. And then at this point, we see, I think this is Mercer, I think, at this point. And then all of a sudden, the lights go completely bright, and everybody starts basically doing the melting thing, where everybody's
melting.
I'm melting.
I'll try some of your burned, replicated bird meat.
But
Yeah.
they did a pretty good job on this
good.
burning.
The vampires,
Yeah.
they go down.
Well, they're space vampires. I also like how red Gordon is after this too.
All right. But I think they missed an opportunity. He puts his hand up like this. It would have been
There should be like
awesome
a
to have
hand.
a hand
Yeah.
print.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Well, if you notice, his one part of his face isn't as burnt.
Yeah.
So maybe
But to have the outline of his hand, I mean,
yeah.
that might have been a little too jokey, but
So
I would have
Gordon-
liked it.
Yeah, it would have been cool though. But Gordon basically takes control of the missile systems, and he fires at this missile that's going into the thing, and I think he knocks it out, but I guess I didn't get that part. He's very red. And then at this point, this Mercer's like, "Yeah, the kids are safe," kind of thing. And she's like, "What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. What's going on?" He's like, "You got to keep them here, blah, blah, blah. It's for their own safety." And then we see Kelly, and it's because these guys have got back to the ship, and Gordon is really red now. And I like, he's like, "Hey, don't shoot us. It's us. Don't worry about it," kind of thing. And Kelly's getting ready to shoot. And then Gordon says something like, "Can somebody find some aloe? We need some aloe."
You need about 1,000 pounds of aloe vera.
Yeah, of aloe vera. Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, they're towing the ship, and then we see that she's been brought back along with the kids. Everybody's been brought back. And the kids are being arranged to be returned back to Krill. And then we don't know what's going to happen with her. I guess she's technically a prisoner of war. But Mercer comes in, and she kind of gives him the ultimate stare down, because she's never seen him like this, right? She's only seen him as a Krill. And she's like, "I didn't think you were going to face me again." And he's like, "Okay, everybody leave." I thought at this point he was going to have like a fist fight with her, but it didn't work. But that would have been better. But she's like, "Well, what's going to happen to the kids?" And he's like, "Well, we're making arrangements to return the kids back to Krill." And then she's like, "And me?" And he goes, "I don't know what's going to happen to you." And which they're kind of.
Why wouldn't they send her back? What did she do? She was just teaching those kids.
She's an adult. They're not worth as much.
Well,
Then why keep her?
Yeah, good point.
Well, like, yeah, by this logic, they should keep everybody like sort of as prisoners of war. Basically, are they at war with the Krill?
No.
Not really.
But the Krill seem to be at war with
If
them.
they're keeping the ship,
Wow.
guys, if they're keeping the ship, it's a spoil of war. They're keeping the ship, so they're at war now.
Yeah, they're technically
Okay.
at war, I guess. Yeah, but we also found out in a previous episode that the Krill are basically against everyone. Like
Yes.
they don't have any allies. They're all together, and then later on they have allies, which we won't spoil that. But They do eventually have allies. Oops, I think I lost my thing, or this might be the last. That is the last slide I have. Yeah, overall, I think it's a good episode. It does end on kind of a downer, but it wasn't as the ending wasn't as funny as some of the other parts. But I'm not totally sure they needed to add any more funny into this episode. What do you guys think?
They could have taken a little out, actually.
Yeah, there's some scenes where basically most of the interchanges with. I think the only scene that I really didn't like was the one where Gordon and Mercer are in the shuttle talking back and forth. I think that one went a little long, but past that, I don't think it was too bad. But I think the pacing was okay. There's a lot of holes in the story, but it's a TV show. What do you want? We're not talking a masterpiece here. But overall, guys, I think it's now time for a nice segment we like to call. What is it, Dave?
Fun facts with Adam.
Oh, I think it might be Fun Facts with Adam, and we got a new little thing here. Let's see if we can find it. Oh man, I gotta get these things queued, guys. Anyway, Fun Facts with Adam. Yeah, there you go, Adam.
Love it. Thanks.
Ooh, my green screen's going nuts.
Okay, so you guys can hear me okay, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Can you hear me okay? We're good?
Yep.
All right, good.
Yes.
So James Horwin, who plays Krill Sazeraran, he is the high priest. He had played numerous guest roles in Star Trek. His first role was as Joe Brill in Suspicions in 1993. And he was an unpleasant alien reptile-like figure similar to the Krill.
And what was that in DS9?
Dr. Joe Brill.
That would be Next Gen.
Was it Next Gen? I don't
No.
remember that episode.
Well, we will be talking about it eventually.
You will. Not tomorrow, but some Tuesday.
Not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Some Tuesday in the future.
Okay, like most of our fellow admirals on the show, Ozawa is named after a real admiral, in this case, Jizaburo Ozawa, one of the last commanders of Japanese Navy in World War II. Ozawa fought against Admiral Halsey, whose namesake also appears in this show.
That's kind of neat.
Okay, when reading the Arcana, Ed compares gruesome contents to the writing of Bret Ellis, who is famous for writing graphically violent novels, which American Psycho and its spinoff Rules of Attraction are based.
Ah, okay.
I think I'm on a bit of delay tonight, guys.
You are definitely on a delay. Yeah.
Right. Just keep going.
Okay, the dinner blessing, Avis. We try harder. Yeah. Okay, so the dinner blessing, Avis. We try harder is the catchphrase for the Avis Rent-A-Car Company. Yep. Gordon tells the trainee class that humans also worship a god, Hertz. The musical theme tonight when entering the Krill ship is taken from Jerry Goldsmith's music from Alien.
Oh, I didn't.
The Krill makeup design and sensitivity to light are very similar to the Reedman's Star Trek Nemesis in 2002.
Rip off.
And while attending the service, the Krill native language is likely similar to the word amen. Gordon Malloy, not knowing these words, utters under his breath as a very similar sound to Katniss Everdeen. As you know, Katniss was the protagonist in the Hunger Games.
Yeah, it was funny.
And the application of prosthetics to turn actors into Krills would normally take about an hour. And then when Ed and Gordon are coming up with Krill names for themselves, among them, they suggest sounds like Fusion Gladgy and Haagen-Dazs. Both are gourmet ice cream brands but using Scandinavian sounding names. So there you have it. This is this week's Fun Facts.
According to what I'm reading here, Adam, it says that Scott Grimes his makeup took 2.5 hours, probably because he's, more of a focus, but they had 111 different Krill done up for this episode.
Wow.
Yeah. Like including all the kids and
they must have a really good budget for the show. Like it looks really good. They seem to spend a lot.
They're
of
also
money
only doing 12 episodes in a season, right? So it's like I guess they can kind of stretch things a
Yeah.
little bit more.
But Seth MacFarlane and Fox have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah, he probably just says, "Here, sign this check," and they do it. So who knows?
I figured out who the severed head was.
Oh,
Oh,
fantastic,
excellent.
Dave. What is it?
It's Tom Savini.
Tom Savini. Why do I know that name?
He's a famous makeup artist from like not the Walking Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and he's like
Oh,
he was in Zack and Miri Make a Porno. He's like the guy who sells them the storage unit that they
Yes.
turn into this
Oh,
like
yeah.
the porn studio. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and whatever before it gets torn down.
Oh, that's awesome. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so that was his head.
Gets to be something he normally makes. So that's good.
Yeah,
That's
I guess
that's
they had a
kinda
mold
funny.
of his head.
That's pretty neat. But Adam looks nothing like.
Chudigawa is what I guess, like the new Doctor.
Oh, Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I think he was referring to the logo because it looks kind of like Doctor Who-ish, I guess. And Sam also wants to know, what's your sign, guys?
Well, he was already calling me a idwat.
Well, he
again,
likes to say idwat instead of idiot. I'm not
which
totally sure.
I think you're an idiot if you can't spell idiot, for the record. Yeah, you're an idwat.
Idwat. That's the French version.
And not only did he not spell that right, but he also spelled you used the incorrect conjugation. It's YOU apostrophe.
You should know better
RE.
than to come after Dave with poor grammar and bad
punctuation.
spelling. You do both those things together. That's a
Sam-
recipe for chaos.
Sam, thanks for coming every week anyway. Thanks for coming every every week.
I enjoy
believe
the
it.
criticism.
Adam's a Gemini, right?
I am a Gemini.
Yes. And Kevin's a Libertarian.
Yes,
It's a long
the answer is
story.
yes. I'm a Gemini.
So,
A Libratarius.
Yeah.
And Dave and I are both Pisces. So.
but what's also funny is that there's a whole episode of the Orville that's all about like that culture that's fanatical
Yes.
about their signs or
I
whatever.
can't wait to do that one
Yes.
with you, Dave.
Oh, that one's gonna be great with Dave. That's gonna be a train wreck. That's gonna be like a 2-hour special. That one for sure. But
See how all that goes. Okay, well, ratings then.
sounds like a good idea, Dave.
All right. The Krill. Okay, so Jody, you're up first.
This is a hard one for me because I enjoyed the episode, but I also found it was kind of boring at times. I don't know. I think it's better than Priya though, so I'm gonna give it an 8. I think it's up there with Command Performance. I think it's about the same.
Okay, Adam. 8.
He does cue cards now. That's interesting.
I agree. It's better than Priya, so I'll go to 8 as well.
I'll agree that it's better than Priya, but surprisingly barely. So 6.5 for me. I thought I liked this a
Kevin
lot
is
more.
the hard ass in this show, eh?
Yeah, it's no
I
Enterprise.
thought I liked this episode a lot more before I watched it again.
Me too. I remember this being a great episode, and then as I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, this isn't as good as it could be. So, see, Kevin just messed up our whole ratings right there.
Brought it right down to
That's
7.
what I'm here for.
Brought it right down. 0.4.
Adam, did you watch Priya? 7.
7. I guess
All
we're
right.
having delayed mark issues with him again.
So I guess we are. Okay, well, Jody, I guess that's the cue. What's up next? And
The next one is
isn't it Majority Rules?
It is Majority Rules with the one where Lamar gets caught by the society that upvotes people, and if they get 10 million down votes, they get killed or something. I can't remember the exact
Right.
thing.
Yeah. He goes on the trial and the apology tour and all that stuff.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does the
yeah,
apology
yeah,
tour.
yeah.
And everybody wears a badge where they can up or down vote something. Basically,
Yeah.
it's a planet of Redditors. That's the easiest way to think about
More
it.
or less, or
Yeah.
kind of taking Facebook, the like and dislike,
All
kind of
those
thing
things.
to it.
Wow, Sam really didn't like this episode. He says 5. Brutal. And I think Norman gave it an 8, if I'm not mistaken. I can't find it now. Sam talks a lot, so there's a lot of scroll through.
I can't find it now.
Yeah, I can't. Anyway, Dave,
Yes.
we got a lot of things going on this channel. Like tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, we're busy pretty much all week around here. Yeah, tomorrow, Star Trek: The Next Generation. We're continuing our episode reviews. Still in the first season. Tomorrow, it is Justice, the episode where they meet the Edo and those amazing uniforms. I believe
This is a society where everybody runs, right?
everybody runs. How can you not like that? You know. And so it's going to be great.
I cannot like it. I can tell you that.
I believe Adam is not with us tomorrow night. He's
no, I think Kevin's taking Adam's.
Kevin's
spot,
coming in. I think we have Murphy, and I don't know if maybe Jody, if you're free, come along.
I might drop by. I don't think I'll be around for the whole thing, but maybe I'll drop by and give you my 2 cents.
All right. And then Thursday, we'll be talking about the Star Trek Prodigy. We're doing batches of episodes. We covered the first 5 episodes last week of the second season. So this will be episodes 6 through 10 on Thursday. And then, we'll have 2 more installments after that, each about 5 episodes. So I'll be on with Davin and Jessica. And well, I guess not this Friday, but last Friday I was talking the Debate 9 with Jessica and Heather. And
yes, I watched some of that.
Yeah,
which is quite interesting.
Apparently has inspired Davin now wants to organize the Live Long and Podcast Olympics, where we're going to have all our colored shirts represent for the different divisions, where he's going to have different events apparently, and we're going to.
It's going to be hard to get people to represent red. There's so many awesome people in red.
I know, so watch out for that in the near future.
Sorry, Adam. Adam's a blue shirt, isn't he?
He's kind of a both, but we ended up putting him in blue, because Davin needed people.
One of these things aren't like the others, guys.
Anyway. Anyway.
All right. Well, on that note, unless anybody has any fun,
I can't keep up tonight with.
Yeah, Adam is finally caught up to my comments, so we're good.
Yeah, we're bringing my dad for the Olympics. He can help represent.
Absolutely. You can't.
Yeah,
you can't
I don't think he'll be our strongest competitor, but he'll be.
He'll be like, what? You asked me a question about something other than.
It's kind of a weird question.
We didn't do that in the '60s.
Is there a golf event? Because I don't know if he's going to want to do it if there's not a golf portion.
If you can make it about weird aliens, he might be in for it. So.
All right. Well, on that note, gentlemen, if there's nothing else we have to say, I guess we will just have to go with our awesome little outro, where we basically talk about all the other things that are on this channel, because there is a wide variety of things on this channel. It's not just us, even though, let's be honest, we are the stars.
Yeah, because Davin wanted me to come on his X-Rated podcast to talk about Deadpool 2. And I was like, I'd rather talk about this episode than Deadpool 2. So that's
wow. I didn't know you had such a hatred for Deadpool.
I don't think I have a hatred for it. I just I'd rather do this. If
we rather have you, Dave, so that works out great.
If I can only be in one place at one time.
Tell Davin not to steal you from us.
I told him.
Okay, good. Excellent. Yeah. Anyway, gentlemen, unless you have anything else to say, except for Adam, because in 5 minutes he'll realize we're off the air. Oh no, he's catching up. He just giggled. But anyway, all right. Well, gentlemen, thanks for joining me again for another episode and for your input and all that. And I wish everybody that they stay hard.
Harder than ever.
Harder than ever.
Anyway, live long, guys.
And podcast.
We're gonna wait for Adam to do it. Okay, ready? Oh, there he is. All right, we're good. And now he's gone.
Now he just leaves. All right.
He's like, fuck you all.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.